What's going on, everybody? My name's Austin Ariel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got probably the coolest dad car you can ever get, for now at least. This is the 2022 Kia Carnival, and this is the SX Prestige trim. This is fully loaded, has everything including those beautiful VIP seats, and this exact one is in the very color scheme that Kia actually debuted this car in. This color is called Astra Blue and the interior is called Tuscan Umber Leather. It's beautiful. So today, go through it. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome, and I definitely appreciate you checking out my videos. If you're already subscribed and you're coming back, thank you for the support. I'm very excited to share this car with you, so I love all the support that you guys have given me thus far. So if you are new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing, especially if you like the content you see, because there's going to be a lot of it. And I will tell you guys that I do have a TikTok now. It's going to be not only car reviews, but it's also going to be based loosely on just cars in general, whether it's the auto industry or my personal cars, things like that, okay? It is going to be my name, so just as my YouTube is. So go ahead, check that out, give it a follow. And without further ado, I do want to thank Carriage Kia of Woodstock, because they're the ones that actually have this Kia Carnival. So big shout out to them, and I definitely appreciate the opportunity to film this car. Let's get to the review. So right up front here, first thing you're going to notice is this absolutely insane new design language that Kia is bringing to the table. So they're already known for their crazy DRLs now, but now they have this really big lightning bolt design here, and you've got your indicators built in. So it's just crazy. You got it not only in the lightning design, but it's also built into the middle here. It's just a cool design. Your high beams are going to be built into the grille. It blends in nicely, and your low beams are going to be on the outside there. They have their own individual housings, and yes, they are projector beam, and yes, they are automatic high beams and they're full LED. Down here you got LED fog lights, which is cool. You do have front parking sensors, and with this grille, which is dark chrome, it is surrounded by this satin finish. You've got Kia's new logo on here, which again, I think looks fantastic. And you do have the radar brick down here. And this is some plastic cladding just to be a little bit more durable, with a satin finish down here towards the skid plate. So overall, I think this is one of the best van or MPV designs ever. Tell me what you guys think, because I'm in love with this thing. In addition to that, I'll finish off by saying these right here are actually functional. They do allow air to go through the wheel well, thus helping aerodynamics, but also possibly brake cooling if you're towing with this thing. Down here, you're going to have 19-inch wheels. They are gloss black. They do have Kia's new emblem on there, and they are wrapped in Continental tires. Overall, I think it's a good design. I think it's a very minimalistic design approach for the car, because the car is very angular. But I will say, I think it was very smart for them to offer a black wheel on such a sporty, quote-unquote, looking MPV. Really quick, let's look at the key fob. So it is like every other Kia key, except it does have two additional buttons. You do have the open and closing buttons for both side doors. Really, really neat. You have remote start, and then lock, unlock, power tailgate opener, get your panic button, and this is the release for the actual laser cut key inside of the key. Wanted to give you guys a side profile view, because this is not your typical looking van. It has a very boxy shape, and a lot of people think it looks very much so like an SUV, honestly. So it's really good to see this. In addition to having Kia's smart key system for not only the tailgate and the sliding doors, they've offered this new feature to where if you just press and hold the unlock button to the car for 3 seconds, it'll actually undo both side doors and the tailgate all in one. It's a really nifty feature. They've thought this system through, so if you want to close all the doors, just press and hold the lock button, and just like that, it closes both rear doors and the tailgate. Other details on the outside that I want to point out is this little floating pillar design that they have going on here that wraps all the way around the tailgate. Looks really cool. The texture design is really pretty. In addition to that, I want to talk about these crossbars, or not crossbars, but I don't know what you would call these, luggage bars. I mean, there's so many different names for it. Tell me what you guys call them. But Overall, they do come on the SX trim level, so just make note of that. At the back of the Kia Carnival, you're going to notice this huge bar for the lighting. Okay, you do have LED running lights that are going to actually to the Kia emblem, but not a full light bar. LED brake lights, your indicators are over here, your backup lights are going to be down here, and your reflector piece is going to be built on the outside. Satin garnish on the bottom with that cladding down here as well for, and you do have rear parking sensors. Carnival script down here. You have a power tailgate design, and one thing that's big pet peeve of mine that they didn't do, which is good, is they did not put the wiper down here. It is top mounted in the spoiler behind the third brake light. Good choice there because it keeps this very clean. Further ado, let's see what's in this thing. So back here, you can see you got a ton of space. Over here, you got a 12-volt power outlet. You've got another household plug. You can fold these seats into the trunk. I'm not going to do that just because it has all these accessories, but it's super easy. You just pull this, the seat automatically will fold in, and you just push it down. It's super, super nice. I'll probably show you that in a lower trim Carnival just because right now I have all these accessories. So, but it's really cool because you can also fold these flat. So just pull on the tether and it folds flat, which is really nice. If you adjust this headrest down, pull on this, and release it down, you can see they fold flat, which is really, really cool. And for those who are wondering, those second row seats cannot be taken out at all, okay? Every other trim of the Carnival, you can, but in the SX Prestige, you cannot. On the left-hand side here, you do have storage pockets, which is also nice. And then over on this side, nothing else aside from those charging ports. Now, the tailgate is gonna be a power tailgate. So you do have this button here, you can press, and it shuts the tailgate like so. And for those who are wondering what that button was next to the closing button on the tailgate, that's just the liftgate auto close. So when you're out of proximity to the vehicle, it'll automatically close the tailgate, which is brilliant. So if you're doing a picnic or something, just grab your stuff and walk away. So let's look inside the brand new Kia Carnival SX Prestige. Let's start on the door card. So here you see you have memory seats, gloss black, a piano black finish. You've got a metallic finish on the door handle. You do have power folding mirrors on this model, power everything as you would expect. And the child locks, you do have a rubber insert here in the door pocket where you're gonna actually grab the actual door itself. You do have Bose audio in this vehicle, and you do have a cup holder built into the door pocket along with a storage space here, which is really nice. As for the rest of the interior, this is the very famous Tuscan umber leather interior. Yes, this is real leather, and this is going to be exclusive for the SX Prestige. It is actually very beautiful in person. So let's look at these seats. As they are memory seats, you do have your standard power controls, lumbar support. They are going to be heated and ventilated for both front passengers, which is really nice. Let's actually take a seat and see what this is all about here. So I'm gonna take a seat, put my mic there, close the door. Look at this. Press the start stop button. It comes to life. And you can see the screen is just like every other Kia Hyundai digital gauge cluster. I've already gone through it. The only thing I'll make note is that this one does have an actual Carnival in the center there, which is really nice. Now, do make note that this screen is only available on the SX Prestige model for the Carnival. Now, you do get the blind spot view monitor system. So every time you put on your signal, it shows you what's in your blind spot, essentially, using the camera that's on each mirror. Now, this digital gauge cluster right here is 12.3 inches, and so is this screen. This is the Kia Infotainment System that they have had out for a little bit now, but this one is on a much larger screen in the Carnival. This is a 12.3 inch screen, so combined, you do have 24.6 inches of total screen in this whole front area. It's really nice, and it is very, very responsive, okay? Now, there are some minor differences with this because this is a Carnival. So, for example, we're gonna go in here, and you see you have quiet mode, so that'll cut off the second and third row speakers for the rear passengers. That way you don't wake them up. you have passenger view now. So you tap on passenger view and it'll bring up a camera for the middle passengers. So you can see, wave my hand, do some crazy gestures, you can do everything. Hi. So you have that option here starting on the Carnival. That is available on the EX trim and higher, so they do carry it here. And then you have passenger talk, so that will actually project your voice through the rear speakers via the Bluetooth microphone, which is really nice. So now you have both of those features. I'm gonna hit home, and then I'm just show you that everything else is pretty much the same as with all of their Kia Hyundai products. You do have their navigation system with map care for 5 years, which is nice. It's still just as responsive. It's an incredible system, and I think Kia's made it really intuitive and honestly really handsome, even though some people don't like this little rainbow purplish scheme. I actually like it. Now, everywhere else in the interior, you're noticing a lot of traits from other Kia products. So you do have this textured trim here, which looks really nice. You do have a wraparound cockpit type of design here, which looks really, really nice. You do have a frameless mirror. This one does have the home link on it. And then you do have buttons up here, which include both sunroof controls. And yes, I will say both because this car does have 2 sunroofs, which is really nice. You do have the buttons for the lighting, and then of course your map lights here. So you can see that in this model, it's not a touch interface like it is on the K5 and Sorento and the Seltos. You have physical buttons. So down here in the control center, or center stack as a lot of people call it, push button start. You do have knobs for the volume and for the tuning for the infotainment system, which is really nice. These are all going to be capacitive touch. So you got map, brings it up, nav, that'll bring you to where you can input information. Radio, self-explanatory. Media is, all the others are self-explanatory. Down here you've got the climate controls that are similar to the Sorentos, so these are capacitive touch as well. And yes, you do have rear climate controls that you can access here if you wanted to as well. When you tap on rear climate, it brings you to this screen up here. And here you can actually lock the rear climate controls if you want to, which is really nice. And then it gives you options like activate upon washer fluid use, and this is just general climate settings. This one just happens to bring up when you hit rear climate just because you have that locking feature there. Auto dehumidify, defog, defrost features, you got that, and it's cool to just have a display here. So make note you do have dual zone climate controls, so these are going to be toggle switches, which is really nice. So really cool there. I'm going to turn up, oh, not that high. I'm going to keep it kind of low, just that way I can stay a little cool in here. Down here, you do have a wireless phone charger. You're going to have your USB for the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then you do have your fast charge USB on the left-hand side, and then a rubberized storage area down here. Shifter, 8-speed automatic on this car, and then you do have your electronic parking brake, different drive modes, which of course you've got normal, eco, sport, and smart, and yes, they're all linked to a drive mode, which is nice. And then down here you got auto hold, so if you're in drive, the car will keep itself in place using the brake, which is nice. Like I said, heated and ventilated seats. I'm gonna keep the ventilated seats on because it's like 90 degrees out here in Georgia. And then you do have a heated steering wheel, front and rear parking sensors, and then a camera button because this car does have a surround view camera system. I'm in park now, but you can see the camera system's actually pretty clear. Kia uses actually pretty good cameras in their system, which is nice. Surround view option here. You do have your backup camera here, but it's cool because on the left hand side you can choose different views, so like your wheel wells, and then the top view for the rear, say if you want to line up a tow hitch or something like that. It's cool because if you do shift it into drive, you'll notice it switches to the front camera, which is really nice, and then it gives you guidelines based on where your steering is, even overhead, which is also a really, really neat feature. And you have that same function here, so if you want to see the front wheel wells, you can do that, or the front, so that way you can see how close you're getting to something. I just think that's a really, really cool, very easy, very intuitive system that Kia has here. So I'm going to put the car in park again, and then you see it just goes away. Super easy. Okay. Down here in the cup holder situation, so here's the key fob, which, mind you, we'll go through this in a little bit. But over here, you see you got a cup holder, and then a slot here. That's for a smartphone. So again, this car is made for families and for modern generations. It's really nice, okay? On the steering wheel itself, leather wrapped, of course, heated like I mentioned, and then very similar switchgear to the Sorento and the Telluride and the K5. If you guys aren't familiar, I'll link those in the description below. But you see, you got your cruise control, lane following assist, radar cruise control, Kia's new emblem, which I am personally a fan of. I love it. I think it just brings them into a whole new generation of Kia, honestly. And then you got your mode button, volume seeking button there, and then your answer and decline button rolled into one, honestly, which is kind of interesting. And then you do have your custom button here for the steering wheel. And then over here on the left hand side, you are going to have your traction control button, your lane departure warning / lane keeping assist button, illumination selection, and then these buttons to actually open and close the side doors. And you can open and close the tailgate, which is really nice. You can also select to keep the power doors off if you want to make them manual. So you do have that option now. Automatic headlights with high beam assist. You are going to have your standard wipers here, and no, they are not going to be rain sensing. They're going to be manual wipers, and you do have a rear wiper there on the side. Let's get into the second row of seats. To get into the back, you have multiple ways to do it. You can use the key fob, you can use the buttons that are inside the car, or you can just simply pull on the door handle, opens right up. Very commonplace amongst a lot of vans, so to speak. And then in the back here, you will see the Prestige model has these VIP seats. So these are not only power reclined, but they are also heated and cooled. It is really cool. Now, I'm going to show you what everybody wants to see, and that's how these seats work in the relaxation mode, okay? So there are buttons on the side, and I'll show you them in just a second, that you can press and hold, and it brings you to a full relaxation mode. It is really nice. You just press and hold, goes out, and just like that. And then there's even more controls where you can bring out the leg extender and just relax. It's really nice, but not everybody might be a fan of this, but I think it's really cool. And in addition to that, it's just really cool to see this in a car in general here in America. And it's also a nice car to be chauffeured in. So these handles, or levers as you would want to call them, they do have a few different functions there, right? So this front one, you can scoot the seat forward and backwards, which is going to be necessary. But this one on the side will actually slide the seat from side to side, and that's important to know, because to access that true adjustments for the VIP chairs, you have to slide the seats all the way together towards the inside, okay? So if it's like this, you won't be able to use those features. So slide it all the way inside, and that's when you can use the one-touch relaxation features, okay? So those buttons I was talking about earlier are on the inside of the seat. So this button here, you press and hold, and it'll put you into the relaxation mode. So you can see it's winding it down, which is nice. And then what you can do, I'll show you right here, this button, if you pull it up, that's what's actually going to move this thigh extender, or leg extender, some would call it. This button here, you press that, and it's going to take you out of relaxation mode, as it's doing now. And then you're back in your normal space, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the seat a little further back here, and then show you guys what else is going on back here. So like I said, you've got heated and cooled seats for the rear, which is nice. You do have this beautiful sunshade, and you do have this decently sized sunroof for the second passengers as well. In addition to the switch up front, you have a switch back here because it is power adjustable, and it still does have a small little wind breaker or wind deflector, some would call it. So one touch, it's really nice. And the shade is actually a manual shade, which is also nice to some extent, so you can actually control how much light you want it with ease. If you look, you've got your map lights back here. You've got your camera for the passenger view, which is nice. You do have a speak and command function up there, so if you're back here and you want to tell something to the front passenger, you can do that. In addition to that, you have two screens back here. So if you power it on, you can see that it shows you everything here. These are touch screens, by the way. You can do screen sharing if you want to, and you can do mirroring. So if you want to use your phone on here, you can definitely do that. But you can see you've got podcast, AVN, you've got YouTube app, Twitch, Sounds of Nature, USB, Netflix, HDMI built in, because you can actually hook up things to the back of this screen, which is nice. In addition to that, You can see you got volume adjustments. You can hook up Bluetooth headphones to it. You got a kids theme, which is nice. So if you got little ones, you can definitely cater to them. So I'm gonna press home. And then on top of that, actually I'm gonna put default theme rather. Then on top of that, back here, you got a household plug. So you can plug in a PlayStation back here, hook it up to here, and have fun. You got a 12-volt power outlet as well. And then just like the Telluride and Sorento, your fast charge USBs are built to the seat back. Now, it's cool because you have a storage pocket down here and you've got mat pockets on the back of both front seats. Now, let's talk about the passenger seat, because up here, you do have these, what they call chauffeur buttons. So you can press and adjust the passenger seat, the angle of the seat back and the distance. So that way, if you want to clear more space back here, you as a rear passenger can do that in your Kia Carnival. Just like the outgoing Sedona, the spare tire is located under the vehicle towards the middle on the passenger side. So that would be the release for it, just to let you guys know. I will say getting into the third row can be a little cumbersome. Now, disclaimer, this car just came off the truck. So these are still plastic wraps that are left over from when it gets off the truck, okay? I don't want you thinking this car is just trashed. It's not. Now, to get in the third row with the VIP seats, you are gonna have to angle the seat back forward using the buttons on the inside of the seat just to climb in, okay? It's a little cumbersome, but it's not impossible to do. So right now I have it angled and I'm gonna get back into the seats. I don't wanna knock the second row just yet, because I did tell you how it can be cumbersome to actually adjust the seat backs when you want to get in the third row, but they do make it sort of easy here, because you can simply go into the setups and then from there you can hit vehicle and you can hit seat, and back here recline second row seats, and you can adjust it like so. So you can see back there when I press forward, it adjusts just like you want it to. So that way you can control all of this just from here. Really, really nice. All right. Move my mic a little bit. So I'm back here. I'm actually gonna move that headrest back a little bit. So the passenger that's sitting in here would have to adjust the seat back for me to sit here in the third row. But from what I can gather, it's gonna be a tight fit. I'll move into this other seat. So it is a little bit of a tight fit. I've got a decent amount of space between my knees. Headroom is a little bit on the tighter side, but it's not impossible. You'll still be comfortable if you're an adult back here, but if you're a little kid, you'll be perfectly fine. So back here, you do have fast charge USBs, you've got cup holders, you've got everything that you would need to be comfortable back here, including sunshades. I'll show you what I mean. So back here, you can see you've got your fast charge USBs, your cup holders, and then you can see sunshades for the rear passengers. And you can see you've got your map light, extra seat belt. You've got vents for the rear row, in addition to the vents for the middle row, so they can have their AC. And then one thing I do want to point out, the AC controls for the second row and third row are over here on the passenger side in the ceiling. So you can adjust the temperature, the directionals, you can put it in automatic mode if you need to. You have all those adjustments there, if the front passengers don't lock you out, that is. All right, guys, back again, this time in the 2022 Kia Carnival. This one's an SX Prestige, and we are driving it. So, first things first, I'm just gonna say this thing is huge, and maybe it's just out of proportion for me because I'm used to driving the RDX and the Stinger, so maybe that's just what it is, but this thing is gigantic. But as soon as you get in this thing, you feel like you've come into this cocoon. It's so quiet in here, it's insane, right? So I will say with the surround view camera system, it's easy to park this thing in a parking lot, which is really nice. And with the blind spot view monitor, you never have to wonder about who's in what area of the car. But overall, first impression wise, it's got a decent amount of power. It's got a new 3.5 liter V6 to an 8-speed automatic transmission, about 290 horsepower, and I believe about 262 foot-pounds of torque. So a pretty good number if you ask me. So overall really nice. Steering feel, very similar to the Sorrento's. It's kind of a middle ground actually between the Sorrento and the Telluride. It's got some decent weight to it, but it's very comfortable. It's not overbearing. It gives you a good sense of appreciation of where you're at in the road, which is nice. Visibility in this thing, guys, there's no worry about visibility. You can see everywhere around you. I mean everywhere. There's no doubt in my mind that you don't know where you're at all times. It's very airy, even with that sunroof in the back. I mean, a little loose hair there. It's just super comfortable. It's very quiet in here. The only thing I really feel, or not feel here, is the ventilation. That's it. Outside of that, nothing. I don't hear a thing, which is so interesting. So driving this thing is actually very easy, especially because the power is smooth, because it's a naturally aspirated motor, and because this car is just super easy to drive. You get very accustomed to it very quickly. Having a sunroof in the back is just wicked. I'm actually going to close it. Let those people go real quick. And then if I just hammer on it. Decent power for what you want. I mean, I gotta see which drive mode I'm in. Yeah, so I was in Eco, so let's start in Sport. There we go. So there it gets a little bit more aggressive with the downshifting, which is what you want. Steering is still a bit on the floatier side, just because, again, this is not a sports car in any means. This is supposed to take your family to places, and that's about it. The suspension is extremely forgiving. It is very comfortable in this car. And surprisingly, there's not as much body roll as you would expect in this thing. It's really nice, and it's really comfortable. I'm gonna take it through this shopping center here so we can go over some speed bumps and such. So brake feel is really nice. You've got a firm pedal, and this thing is so quiet. It is super quiet in here. Bump, 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 bump. Nice. This thing is super comfortable. I actually really like it. And those VIP chairs, just insane. I mean, I never thought that I would see a power heated, cooled, reclining seat in any car. And yes, people are going to make jokes. It's just a Kia. You can't say that about Kia. Kia is a very valid brand now, and people don't want to give them credit. They make fantastic vehicles. I truly, wholeheartedly believe that. And I do think they're kind of an underdog in this way, you know? So, but that's just my opinion. Everybody has theirs. Outside of that, I mean, this thing is a pretty easy vehicle to drive. Suspension's very comfortable. Brake feels nice. The acceleration is exactly what you'd want for a vehicle of this size. You don't ever have to worry about if you're gonna have to pass somebody on the interstate. You don't get those worries with this car, which is nice. These do come only in two-wheel drive, which isn't really a deal breaker for most people, considering, I mean, vans have almost always been two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive especially, but it would be nice to have an all-wheel drive option there, but Kia's not going to throw that out there just yet, it seems. So overall, I think if you're looking to get one of these, the space is incredible. I would say look at different trim levels, because the VIP seats might not be what you want just because you can't take them out, but overall it's still a fantastic vehicle. I mean, the amount of car, I mean, if I'm looking on the window sticker, this thing is how much? Like 47,000 and some change? 48,000 for this thing, and this is maxed out. If you get one lower trim, you're saving yourself some money, especially compared to the competition, because even this, you compare it to a Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle, which is like 52, 53 G's, you know, it's almost a 5-6 grand bump, you know, and you gotta wonder if that's something you want to do. So, in saying that, thank you guys again for watching. I appreciate all the support. Comment down below what you think of the Carnival. Criticize, do whatever you need to. And then if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I definitely appreciate it. Until next time, I'll see you guys.